Open a can with your bare hands? Make a pre-sliced banana? And how do you cut a hard-boiled egg like this? Stay tuned for amazing food hacks. If you're cooking pizzas, but find there's not enough space to fit them both in properly, chop them in half and place them on an oven rack like this. They should now slide neatly into your oven, and when they're cooked, you can slice them up as normal. If you want to steal some pizza without anyone knowing, you can cut it like this. Take a slice out of the middle first and remove it, then push the two halves together and do exactly the same again. Then finally push all 4 pieces together and cut it as you would normally. Serve it on a plate and no one would ever know. These spiralizing gadgets are really cool. They work really well, but they are a little laborious to use after a while. If you want to speed things up, you can take a wire coat hanger and cut out a section like this, place it into your drill, and use this to turn your produce instead of your hands. I'm pushing it onto the firm bit at the back of my courgette, and even though it's not on straight, look at it go. It works really well. Just make sure you stop before the metal prongs hit the metal blade. Next I'm going to show you how to do this really cool egg hack. Take a drinking straw and use a pair of scissors to cut the ends like this. Fold it in half so it makes a V shape like this. Take your egg and insert the straw so it makes a cut. Pull it out and keep going round so it makes a zigzag cut all the way around the egg. Once you've finished, you should be able to lift it off and reveal the yolk, and it looks really cool. And depending where and how big the yolk is inside the egg, you'll find you get a completely different outcome. If you've got an avocado which isn't quite soft yet and you want to help speed up the ripening process, you can take some tin foil and wrap the avocado up in it. Then put it into an oven dish and place it in the oven at about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 90 degrees Celsius. Warming the avocado up gently releases gas, which surrounds it and helps speed up the ripening process. After about 10 minutes, take it out, place it on a cooling rack and leave it to completely cool down. Once it's cooled down, remove the foil and it's ready to eat. Cut it in half, remove the stone, and you should now find it soft, ripe and perfect for eating. For the next one, I'm taking a slice of white bread, rolling it out nice and flat with a rolling pin, then laying over some sliced cheese. I'm also adding a thin piece of ham. Then, starting from the bottom, roll it all up into a nice tight roll, like this, and lightly fry them off in some oil. Rotate them every couple of minutes so they're cooked all the way around. And when they're done, we've got these delicious ham and cheese toasted dippers. Beautiful melted cheese, and it goes great with guacamole or sour cream and chive. You can make an emergency food grater by drilling a series of holes in the side of a can, then clean out any metal swarf. Use some pliers to snap off any burrs and give it a good wash. Then I used the back of the drill bit to bend out the holes to form a cutting edge, like on a grater. And it's ready to use. I'm grating this cheese, and it doesn't take long to have a decent amount. You can use this apple coring and slicing gadget to make your own potato wedges. It's really quick and simple. Just place them on a baking tray, give them a light coating of oil, and dust over whatever spices you might like. Then bake them in the oven until they're cooked. If you need to peel some garlic, you can just put the whole garlic into a saucepan. Place on the lid and hold it down firmly, then give it a good shake. After a few seconds, the garlic breaks up and starts to peel the cloves. If you're cooking rice and you want to add a little extra flavour, simply add a vegetable stock cube as it's cooking and stir it in. If you want to cool down a glass of room temperature wine, you can keep some grapes in a Ziploc freezer bag, seal it up and keep them in the freezer. Then if you find you're pouring yourself a glass of room temperature wine and you want to cool it down quickly, you can drop in a couple of frozen grapes. These will act as ice cubes, but it won't dilute your drink like it would with water. If you want to make a burger with a bit of a difference, you can use a drinking glass to cut a hole out of the centre. Then, while it's cooking, crack an egg inside. Make sure it's cooked on both sides. I'm also adding cheese. And there we have an amazing burger. Cut it in half, and you can see the egg inside. If you give a can of baked beans a good shake before you open them, they'll easily tip out into a bowl or a saucepan, and you won't get any sticking at the back of the can. If your can opener has broken and you're trying to open a can which hasn't got a ring pull on, you could actually open it in an emergency by rubbing the seam at the top over the top of some sandpaper. Keep sanding and sanding until you open up the seam and can see the individual layers. The lid of the can and the sides are no longer wrapped around each other. Wipe off any dust and you can open the can by just giving it a good squeeze. With the seam sanded open, the lid was more like a tight-fitting cap, pushed on top. And another crazy hack to open a can is to use a spoon. Grip it like this, hold onto the can, then start rubbing the tip of the spoon back and forward on the top, while pushing down to make a groove. Keep going and you should pierce a hole right through the top, like this. Then use the edge of the spoon to cut all the way around the top. Keep going, and when you get round far enough, you can fold open the top. Of course, opening a can like this does make a really sharp and jagged edge, so you do need to be careful. You can make a really cool snack by chopping a hot dog sausage in half, then thread one of the halves onto a skewer, and using a small knife, sit it on the skewer at a slight angle, and rotate the sausage to make a nice spiral cut all the way down, like this. When you're done, stretch it out along the skewer. Next, take some pancake mix, and add a small amount of water so you can knead it into a bread-like dough. Tear off a piece, roll it into a long worm, and twist it down the skewer in between the sausage, to make a sausage and batter swirl. Cook them off in a frying pan with some oil, and make sure they're cooked all the way around. After a few minutes, they're ready to serve. Pretty cool, huh? They taste great and they go really well with a dip. You can do a similar thing with a potato. Slide it onto a skewer, place it onto a chopping board, and use a sharp knife to put a thin spiral cut all the way down to the end. Fan it out along the skewer, and place it onto a baking tray. Add a little cooking oil, and bake them in the oven. They go really well alongside a healthy meal, or to accompany a burger.